Hello, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. You're probably listening to us, and yes, we are sounding a little bit cocky because we have just beaten the Brisbane Lions up at the Gabba by a point. After, of course, Brisbane Lions have choked a 46-point loss. But my name is Mitch Patterson, and as always, we're joined by Ethan Duffy. And of course, as I just said, we are reviewing the Brisbane versus Carlton game up at the Gabba. The final scores were Brisbane 85 points, 12 goals, 13, 85 points. To Carlton, 13 goals, 86 points. Daffy, as we mentioned in the preview, you are, of course, up there at the game. Watching from the TV was insane, but I think being at the game would have been probably one of the greatest experiences of your life. So this episode will be very much about how the experience was at the game. So first things first, mate, how are you? But also, initial thoughts, take us through how your head is feeling right now.
It's it's a very weird feeling. It hasn't really sunk in much. I feel like when you're at a game, it just doesn't sink in. You know what I mean? Like it's a blur in a sense. And for me, the day started fantastic. And in terms of before the game, I went to an event for my family went to. It was like a Blues Queensland supporter group run thing. There was a few hundred people there. It was fantastic. So shout out to those people running those events. For people over there, which is fantastic. So recommend that for anyone going over to Queensland in the future. Fantastic. It was just a really, really good time. We listened to Diesel Williams. I met Sticks Kernahan, and it was pretty unbelievable. Just seeing the amount of blue bagger support in Queensland. So shout out to them first and foremost. But yeah, right now, Patto, it's unbelievable, and the start of the game was poor. Let's be real. First quarter was poor. We just let out the back. I know you were messaging me during the game saying it was just out the back goals, easy goals, and they weren't playing that good. Like it wasn't, they weren't like they were playing okay, Brisbane, but it wasn't. We just weren't there. We weren't up to the task of challenging them early. And then I feel like the switch actually flicked in the end of the second quarter. I reckon it was halfway through. We were clawing our way back into the game. And I just thought, I think if we hit them hard early in the third, which we did. I didn't think it was going to be 6 goals in 8 minutes, but I'll take it. But yeah, it was a fantastic response after halftime, and it shows where this team is at, Patto. It's an opening round game. It's only for 4 points, and we're willing to fight like that.
Yeah,
like that shows you where we are at as a playing group and as a football club. And the atmosphere was unbelievable. We were so much louder than Brisbane supporters. It was, it was this roar. It was like the MCG roar at the Gabba.
Yeah.
So it was fantastic. It was good to see a few people there. And I couldn't have made it a better day. It could not have been a better day. You catch up by 46 points, which is our second highest comeback in history, just behind the Essendon comeback in 2007. So fantastic, Patto.
Yeah, like when you put it like that Essendon comeback was like something
unbelievable.
Like it was unbelievable. Something that I don't think we didn't think we would probably ever see against something like that. But it's happened against the Brisbane Lions up at their fortress. Like it's something that I don't think is. I'm sure over the next few days it will be spoken about a lot more. But beating Brisbane up at the Gabba is like beating India in cricket in India. Like it's not easy to do, and it's something that I don't think it's sunk in my head. I don't know about you, but it's not sunk in my head I reckon after that game, I just sat on the couch for about 45 minutes after the game, and I was like, I was just in shock. Like I literally posted on our Baggers Chat story. Yeah. And then I posted on our Baggers Chat story saying, what did we just witness? Like, it's actually like, it's still sinking in. I'm sure tomorrow when I wake up, I'll be absolutely amazed, and I can't believe it isn't a dream because, but I mean, it's not a dream because like this is expectation. We both predicted us to win, so we really believed that we would get the win. But I thought we would very quickly also just mention, of course, the giveaway that we did, the jumper giveaway. The winner was Henry Lister. Hopefully I said that right, but yeah, so we've been in contact with him, and he's absolutely stoked. He's a young blue bagger, so
Yeah,
we told him that he won the giveaway. He was absolutely stoked, and I'm sure I even said in the message, I'm like, let's hope Carlton can get the win as well, and I'm sure his day has been absolutely fantastic. So, he got a Clash jersey sent to him, so it's on his way. But yeah, I mean, just young supporters like that making their day by
yeah,
supporting him, but also by Carlton getting the win as well. As a young supporter, I'm sure that would be that he was probably just had the best day of his life. So it's fantastic to do that. But we'll very quickly now move on to our initial thoughts. And I just think like the first thing we have to say is very poor start to the game. We don't really want to spend too much time on negatives just because like you can't really look at the negatives with the amount of positives we had in that second half. But yeah, so very poor start to the game. But I mean, fantastic response halfway through the second quarter. And as you said, I just think we took a while to like we were probably playing better halfway through that second quarter, but we didn't really get it. And it was like probably
yeah.
halfway through there, that's when we started to really gel. And then that third and fourth quarter, we absolutely dominated. So no, mate, but also Harry Mackay, Zach Williams, and Paddy Cripps, who were among our best initial thoughts. Daffy Boy, thoughts on those three, but also just your initial thoughts on the game.
Yeah, it was a very weird game of football. I thought earlier it was like one-sided, but it was one-sided, but they weren't flawless, Brisbane. It just felt like they weren't missing. They would kick the first 6 goals straight. Then McCluggage goal from the boundary. I was like, Jesus, if he's kicking it from the boundary, we're in some strife. But uh, it was just it was in our control in terms of if we flicked the switch, I think we could have we did turn it around. But at that time, I was like, we just you know, just keep building, just keep it. There's no rush. We've got plenty of time in terms of we've got the quality to be able to bang goals on. So it was just about not letting it go out to 50, 60 like we used to. Like that game, 3, 4 years ago, even 2 years ago,
Yeah.
we would have lost that game by 60, 70, and the game would have been done at half time. So, yeah, the response was fantastic. Like you said, it was just that it was slowly turning. The tide was turning in the end of the second. I was very positive. I know we were 5 goals down, but I felt like it just, you know what I mean? Like it was just like something was there, and we were right. We were right, and something was definitely there. And that's I think it was 6 goals in 8 minutes, which is unbelievable. It was just Kennedy's snap, cultural snap. And there was a few players that struggled throughout the game, and they were kicking goals. So it's just about finishing your work, and it's confidence. It is confidence, and I think we lacked confidence at the start of the game. And then I felt like maybe Voss or the playing group just thought, just play with confidence. What are we here for? And I think we play our best footy when we're confident and we're taking risky kicks and we're just taking it on, putting pressure on the other team. Just so it's nothing better than a big tackle up forward or just that pressure. It's just unbelievable, and that's why we watch this sport. Like we want that excitement, we want that thrill. So, and on the last point, I thought, Mackay, Williams and Cripps is fantastic. And on Williams, the story is fantastic. He's had a terrible 18 months. Obviously, he's had his sister pass away through cancer, and obviously had his knee surgery at the same time, like he had his rehab at the same time. So shout out to him. And for me, I'll touch on Harry later, but Cripper, I thought it was that big goal. That big goal. He needed to kick that goal. It was a skipper's goal. And in years past, not just him, but Carlton would have not just the captain, but certain leaders, and that let us down in that. And it was just like, in that moment, I was like, yeah, we're here, but we're here. Even if we didn't win the game, I just knew we were there to play football this season. So, no, shout out to Cripper and shout out to those 2 other boys and a few other. You got Georgie Hewitt, who was probably our best up until halftime. He had the most touches on the ground. Ches lifted in the last quarter, especially, and I thought, Lockie Fogarty, he won't get his kudos, but I thought he was our best small forward in terms of pressure and just for a longer period. Like I think in the first half, he was actually setting the tone a little bit for the other guys, and I think as a whole in the second half, we all lifted, and guys like Orazio were around the ball and stuff like that. It was really good to see, and Cunners, guys like that. So yeah, it was. I think from the first half, I think we had about 4 good players. And then the second half, we probably had about 20, 22, 23 good players. So it was just really good.
And yeah, like it's a really good way to put it, because I think like even guys like Lewis Young, who's been under a lot of scrutiny the past few weeks, and he's a guy that we were really nervous about seeing because like especially in the practice games, he wasn't overly great, and seeing him actually find some confidence was actually quite pleasing. I would expect when Weeders is fit, he probably makes way, but it's really pleasing for me because I feel like he would have been, because at the end of the day, if you wear the jumper, you know that all these players are giving 100%, and some of the errors that he makes, like he probably would feel more bad than anyone else. Like he would be absolutely kicking himself and hating himself and probably getting sleepless nights because he would hear all the noise. And for him just to go out there and really look confident was really pleasing for me. And Brody Kemp as well. Like I think him being that intercept, and Mitch McGovern, like as you said, we can probably name 22, 23. Jack Harrell the sub. Jack Carroll the sub came on and he made a fucking impact. Like this is guys where Carroll probably wouldn't have been even in the 26, 27 players at the start of the season if they were all fit. Out there, and he's done his role. That's what we ask every week. Go out there, do your role. 22, 23 players, do your role. You get the job done. That's what happened today. And, tonight. And, it's really pleasing. But I think, we have wanted to touch on this guy. This is probably going to be the main event of the episode, but we wanted to make sure this was the opener. So we've done the initial thoughts, but we are going to move on to a guy called Harry Maguire. So 3 goals, 13 disposals, 7 marks, and the last line there, kicked the fucking match winner. Now, I'm going to say one thing. So I did post something on Bankstrat just saying in terms of course, we're proud of the group, but words can't even explain how we feel about Harry Maguire. And seeing the amount of media he had at the end of the game on Fox Footy, he had an interview after the game with Abby Holmes, I think, Channel 7. Just the way he speaks is really, he's obviously media trained, but just the way that he expresses his feelings is really, in a sense, humble. Like he just seems like a really down-to-earth guy, very low-key, just a very well-spoken, you can't really call him young man anymore because he's now starting to get into that senior side in his AFL career. But it's just so pleasing that a guy like that who has been absolutely shat on for 3 years in the media, he can go out there and when he hit that goal and he didn't even have to celebrate, he just put that finger up saying, I'm Harry fucking Maguire, mate. Like, that's what I'm a medalist, and it's just I was happy for him because I'm like, even if we lost the game, well, of course we would have been shattered, but I was just happy to have that moment of potentially getting the match-winning goal, and of course, it came out to be the match-winning goal. So, definitely, I know that I've got to give you the stage because I know how much you love Harry Maguire, and I know how much you've backed him for ever since he's made his debut. You have backed him more than anyone else that I have ever known. I'm sure that you must be so pleased with how he played tonight.
So you couldn't have said it better in terms of the whole media situation. I was talking to a lot of blue baggers after the game, just in terms of his, performance in his career and to date. And, he was copping flack after the 2 bracket games. He was our best player in the 2 bracket games. And they focus. I just hate how the mainstream media, and I love how the podcast world and the channels and each club has their own channel like us, and we express our view instead of listening to that mainstream shit that they try to get. You know what I mean? It's done. Put a line through that shit. If I hear a bad word about Harry Maguire this week, first of all, I didn't watch the game of football. And secondly, it's just ridiculous. So I think it was ridiculous prior to this performance. And like you said, with his 3 goals, 13 disposals, 7 marks, his 13 disposals, they were impact. It was just out the back, the assist to Cripps over the top. different. Like he takes marks when you need him to take marks, and that mark at the end. Do you know how difficult that is?
Yeah.
Like it's in a pack, and I knew he was going to mark. And I called to my mum. I'm like, he's going to take. Because I could see him kind of, when the big forwards or the superstar forwards, when they stand up and like buddies or whoever, like Roughheads and Hawkins and Camerons and stuff. You go, he's going to mark this ball. He's going to mark this ball, and he's going to go back and he's going to kick the goal. And like you said, he didn't have an overreaction. He did his thing, put his finger up. He knew the game wasn't done.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mentality of the whole group.
Yep.
They didn't, back in 2019, if we hit the lead with a minute to go, it'd be, fair enough. That's okay too. But it was more like we've still got a job to do, and we've got to win this game. And for me, it's his professionalism. Yeah, I think his video on social media, he looked like he just got out of bed. He was that calm after play. You know what I mean? That's the way he goes about it.
Yeah, no, you're spot on.
We're not here just to win opening round. We're here to win premiership cups. And his mentality, whether he's, he had a tough year last year. Let's be real. He had a tough year last year. And he's come in, worked his ass off like he usually does in the preseason. We know that. Me and you know that. And we Carlton supporters know internally, we know how hard this guy works to get himself to the next level. And I'll say it right now. He is in a chance to win the Coleman medal. 100%. And I think I love the way him and Charlie work. Charlie's a different forward. Charlie's he's a goal kicking. His output is goal kicking. Deep in the 50, he kicks freakish goals. But Harry's that guy. He takes marks when you need him, whether it's centre half back, full forwards. You know what I mean? And we messaged each other last night. Melbourne would die for Harry Maguire. Teams would die for Harry Maguire. These supporters that have been from other teams, if you're listening right now and you've been talking shit about Harry Maguire all those years, and now they go, shit, this guy's the real deal now. Like really, he is. Him and Charlie are the real deal. Yep. They're rough in, buddy. I don't care what you say. Like I remember when they were drafted, everyone was like, geez, these two, they're going to be the right. And then a few years, there was a few doubts and injuries to Charlie and, form slumps or whatever. And now they're bang. Opening round, beat the runners up from last year at their home ground. Like you said, they do not lose there. They haven't lost there since 2022, round 23. So, Harry Mackay, sending my love to you right now, mate.
It's really well said. Like, yeah, you want to try and just give him as much credit as possible, but you know that that's happening internally as well, because every single Carlton player would be getting around him. And, like, you actually said a really good point there, because when Harry Mackay kicked that goal, like, yes, of course he had a great moment. But as you said, I think 3 years ago, you probably would have been like, yes, get around Harry. Yeah. He's kicked a really clutch goal. But then they're like, oh, wait, we still have a game. But when he kicked that goal, there was probably, I'm sure there would have been a few guys getting around him. But get back to position, because you have a game to win now. You have 90 seconds to hold the game. You have to get back to business and try and win that game. And that's actually a really good point, because I completely agree. I reckon that was probably something that would have probably happened 3 or 4 years ago, where we would have gotten around the players a little bit too much. Say like a Mark Murphy, like when he kicked that goal at Fremantle, who knows? I mean, we of course we ended up in the game, but that one was like a crazy reaction, but that was also a freakish goal. But yeah, like as you said, like it's probably sometimes warranted. Like we aren't going to complain if they are doing that, but I think it's a really good point, because I mean it's also down to Harry Maguire. Like if he was going off his nana, everyone would have gotten behind him, but he just said, "Yep, great, awesome moment for me. Let's fucking game now. Like let's just fucking move." But yeah, so so credit to Harry Maguire. I think we want to try and spend at least an hour on Harry Maguire, but of course we have other things to touch on for the game. But I think, I mean, we touch on leaders, and I think Harry Maguire is definitely classified as a leader now at the Carlton Football Club. He probably has been for the past few years. But two leaders that were out there tonight, of course, without Wieders and Walshy, the two vice captains. Charlie Curnow was, of course, the vice captain tonight, but the two leaders that stood up tonight. Paddy Cripps, 23 disposals, 1 goal, 10 contested possessions. I thought he was, I think he's always underrated in terms of like he just does stuff, and that not a lot of people talk about. Like on paper, you look at that and be like 23 touches, 1 goal, 10 contested possessions. It's probably not the greatest game, but I think his impact was up there with with how he took it, like in important stages of the game. When we played better, he played better. So shout out to Cripper, but also Charlie Curnow. My God, this guy, I still can't believe we've got him playing for our club because he is the best player in the competition without so 4 goals, 11 disposals, 11 kicks as well. So he didn't handball at all, and he's using his foot skills. So that's great to see. And also 5 marks. But David Boy, thoughts of those 2 leaders standing up at the crucial stages as well. Like the whole reason why we made that comeback was probably down to Charlie Curnow getting 3 goals in there. I think it was the third quarter. So I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But what was your thoughts?
Yeah, I think even back into last year, I think the leaders stood up, and that's how we won football games. I think you need leaders, and good teams have leaders. You look at Collingwood. I hate to look at Collingwood, but their leaders stood up. You got Pendlebury, Sidebottoms. They were in career almost best form in the finals last year and got them over the line. And who knows how they'll go this year, but they got them the premiership. Those older blokes, kind of steadying the ship in a sense. Like you said, I think Cripps is unbelievable. I think he's working in and under. He was trying his hard. Obviously, his second half was definitely better, in my opinion. I thought his second half he stood up in terms of impact. I think his first half, he's working really hard. He was working really hard for no reward, unfortunately. But in terms of Curnow, like I said, with him and Harry, the good thing about it, they're so different, and they're not the same forward. There's a lot of teams that have that issue. I think Dogs have a big issue in terms of their forward. They got a lot of the same forward. Like they've got Lob out there, they've got Norton, they've got Jamara, they've got other guys like Sam Darcy and stuff like that who are fighting for positions rather than working together. And I think with Harry and Charlie, obviously from the draft, they were the clear targets of the club. I think it was pick 10 and pick 12, and geez, it's pretty good picks when you look back at it. But yeah, Charlie was fantastic, especially in that third quarter. That's all he's got to do. He's got to break open the game, and that was his thing. And then Harry, obviously put the icing on the cake in the last quarter with his performance. But yeah, with Cripps and Curnow, it's fantastic. And without 2 leaders in the team, with Wiedering and Walsh, Wiedering and Walsh playing that game, and Walsh has probably got his feet up at home having a good laugh.
Yeah, it's really well said. But hopefully we're going to see maybe some. I think Walsh has been, of course, ruled out until the bye, but hopefully there's some progression in the next probably week or so. And who knows if we didn't have the bye, maybe Walsh could be available for round 2. But it's also one thing without Walsh and Weeders out there, and we can still do that, like the way that we won it as well. 46 points down, and we're going to move now on to the defensive structure, and without Wiedering. So after halftime, we only conceded 3 goals. I wrote down one. I don't know why I wrote down 1 goal there, but but yeah, so we only conceded 3 goals after halftime, which is pretty crazy. Like
I think from quarter time it was 5-11.
Yep.
That's unbelievable.
Yep.
That's unbelievable.
5 goals, 11, and because they scored 7 goals in the first quarter, which the start probably wasn't what it wasn't really what we were asking for, I'm sure, but once again, to find a way to win, that's another thing where, like last year we did the exact opposite in the prelim. We were 5 goals up, but we found our way back this time, and I think that's why we are now starting to become a big threat heading into the season, because most teams, if they're 30 points up with 10 minutes to go, they're like, okay, most years you can probably say that we can beat Carlton right now, but they get a goal.
Not now.
They're back in it. They are back in it. And it's like a Collingwood, like I hate to say it, but
100%.
They are a team that if they're 3 goals down with 2 minutes to go and they get a goal, they've just still got that
Yeah.
heartbeat, as Brian Taylor would say, if they're 84 points with 20 to go. They're like, there's a heartbeat, but but no, we've got to move on to of course, the defensive structure as we just mentioned. But yeah, so after half time, we only conceded 3
Yeah.
goals. Lewis Young, Brody Camp stood up tremendously
Yeah.
as those key defenders. McGovern as the interceptor as well, and as we mentioned, Williams and Boyd were absolutely fantastic. So I think we probably touched on enough with the defensive structure, but we're going to move on to a guy called Tom DeConning. Now,
Yeah.
so 24 hitouts, right? I
Yeah.
thought he may have had have had the game high, but the stats have changed on the AFL app. So 24 hitouts, 11 disposals, 7 contested possessions, 2 marks, 3 tackles. That was the chance for him to have that sole ruckman position without Pito, who is fit. He's just we have purely gone without that second ruckman, which I think is great for TDK because he has been able to have that sole ruckman position, and I reckon he was absolutely fantastic tonight.
Yeah.
Also with Harry Maguire as that second ruck, which I love. So,
Yeah.
thoughts on the defensive structure if you want to touch on anything without Daffy Boy, but also make sure to touch on Tom DeConning with his sole ruckman game, which I thought was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'll just start on with the defensive structure. Defensive structure. Sorry. I'll just kind of summarise it all. Yeah, I thought Lewis Young did his thing. Like we just touched on before we recorded. I thought Lewis Young just did his thing. He wasn't the world's best fullback, but he did his thing, and I think we've just got to back him in. And we said that in the preview. We both said it. We just got to back him in. Whoever's on the park, we just got to back him in. And he did very well. I thought Danaher, he had a fair bit of it, but it wasn't. I think the first half, Lewis Young was our best defender up until half time. I thought, in terms of direct opponent, I thought he was very, very solid. And Kempy was very, very good. I thought one of my favourite defenders of the game was McGovern. He was there, one-on-one. Game was huge. Especially back into the game. Like there was a few bigs. They rolled Payne through the forward line the last quarter because he was getting towed by Charlie Curnow. So that was a very odd move from the Lions. I was like, that's a good sign. I was like, that's a good sign if they're putting their defender up forward and putting Gardner back because they had Gardner up forward most of the game. And they switched them. I was like, they're getting a bit desperate. They're struggling a little bit. So it's always a good. It was like Liam Jones when we put Liam Jones full forward against Melbourne a few years ago. It's
Why
desperate.
the white flag?
It's the white flag. It's almost the white flag, and it's a similar situation. Obviously, not to that extent, but also Zach Williams. Shout out to him, like I said before, fantastic performance. And Boyd, especially in the last quarter, took risky kicks and he took it on. I almost had a heart attack when he had 3 guys in the middle and he got high and it was almost holding the ball. Oh my God. I was like, it was heart in mouth type situation, but he went through that. And with TDK, I thought TDK was very, very solid, and I don't see a way Pito comes into the side unless TDK is injured or his form dips significantly. I don't think he's going to be in the side. I think we're a much quicker midfield with TDK in there, and I think Harry's ruck sense right now is at a level where he can compete with an actual ruckman.
Yeah, completely agree. It's really well said, and I think like Pito has been really serviceable for a couple of years since we brought him over, I think 2019 when we brought him over. And I think he's been great. And I think clubs have what AFL clubs now need to have 2 ruckmen that you can go out and do a serviceable role, and that's what TDK and Pito. And I hope Pito thinks that he can still play a vital role in this side because he probably accepts that his natural ability probably doesn't suit our game style, and if he looks elsewhere in a couple of years, that's completely fine. Because at the end of the day, if he thinks that he's going to be he wants to be an AFL footballer, that's completely fine. But I think TDK is that generational ruckman where we want him there for the next few years, and I think now was the time to give him that sole ruckman position, or else we probably would have said after his contract is done in a couple of years, we probably would have said, oh, well, I can go to Geelong who don't have a ruckman. See you later. So I think I'm glad, I think we're glad that TDK is finally getting that sole ruck position. But Yeah, so if we are mumbling our words a little bit, give us some credit because we are doing. I mean, I don't know the time over there, Daffy Boy, but it's 2:11 here in Melbourne. So 2:15 in the morning. I'm fucked. I've got a bit. I've got a bit of a coke here with the Patrick Cripps Brownlow medal. What's it called? What's this thing called? With
Tubby holder.
Yeah, yes, Toby holder. That's right. But yeah, so I'm a bit tired, but we're always done with the podcast. So the last segment that we will touch on is, of course, the inaugural bagger of the game. So Daffy Boy, 3 votes best player, 2 votes second best, 1 vote third best player. Who have you got?
Yeah, I'll go through these quickly. 1, Cripps. 2, Williams. 3, Maguire.
Yeah, completely agree.
I just think those 3 were my standouts. There's probably a few others, but those 3, Harry, I just broke over the game. Without him, I don't think we win the game.
Yeah, completely agree. I have. You can probably say a few names, but I have 2 new names. So of course, 3 votes. Yep. Harry Mackay, I think he was by far the best player. 2 votes, George Hewitt. 1 vote, Charlie Curnow.
Yeah,
guys, I think he was the guy that was that made a really big statement in that third quarter, and he really played well. But Daffy Boy, before we wrap up the episode, is there anything else you would like to touch on up there in the Gabba?
Oh, it's going to be a good sleep tonight. I'll probably watch a few of the highlights before I go to bed, but I'm tired, so I'll probably be heading to bed straight now. I've had a few too many beers, so my voice is dying. So it's been good to do the episode straight up. And yeah, thanks for the support, guys. Cheers.
To all the viewers out there, I hope you know that this is Daffy when he is drunk. So he has had a few beers. Give him some credit. But no, so make sure to keep an eye out for 9 a.m. tomorrow. Saturday morning for our episode to release. But to every single blue bagger out there, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the channel around. To you, Daffy Boy, and to every single blue bagger out there, up the baggers!